Look at this. This is the infamous Golodi Pass, a 7-kilometer stretch with 21 brutal hairpins, steep cliffs and a drop that makes your stomach turn. Itchy Boots drove it and called it the road that destroyed all. Now we are here, in Livingstonia, standing at the top of the pass. The big question, do we dare to drive it with PANGO? Or will we take the long road around? But before that, we wander around in Livingstonia, named after explorer David Livingstone. From coffee farms to waterfalls and underwater life. And as you will see, PANGO is not the only Land Rover starring in this episode. Wander along. We drove out of Nika National Park and headed for Livingstonia. That it would be this stunning, we could not have imagined. Morning.
Morning.
So we cheated a little bit. We enjoyed the luxuries of the villa for a few days. Look at this. These were apparently the old pipes that were still brought here by the Scottish missionaries long, long ago. Still riveted in. Not welded, but riveted in. They're still here. And there, just there, you can see the waterfall. This is the writer's cabin they are building. Would you like to come back to this?
I'd love to, yes. Write my book.
Yes.
So this is a Series 3, 19 79 model, 46-year-old Land Rover, 100% original. Probably not the original paint. At some stage, I think they put a new paint job on it. It's a 2.25, 2.25 petrol engine. It's got 14,000 miles on it. And we're like the second owner in Malawi. We haven't driven it for a month, so the battery is about to go flat, and I pulled it out this morning, but I may have flooded it with the choke. So what we do, if the battery can hold, is we just take the still old carburetor, and then...
This is insect repellent,
yeah.
Just to tell the people.
Okay, Spike.
Daar wordt eens op.
Okay, amper. Okay. I think there was a mosquito under the bonnet.
We're going.
We're going.
So this whole electricity infrastructure here is done by one guy called John from Chitimba. This is all hydropowered from the waterfall, which is just 100 meters behind us. And we're going to his maize mill, which is also running off hydropower from the waterfall, to actually go and make enzima or maize for the lodge.
Hey.
Hi.
Lida.
Rita, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Or you?
John.
John, yes, I heard.
Yeah,
Thank you for meeting us.
Oh, it's okay, I can take.
This is Manchewe waterfalls in the beautiful Chitimba Valley of northern Malawi. It looks idyllic from a distance, but life here is not easy. Every day is a hustle. People have to walk long distances with heavy loads, get firewood to prepare food, try to make some money somehow and start again. But one man is trying to lighten the load.
Hello, guys. My name is John Cyrus. Actually, I should say welcome to the northern part of Malawi. Here I'm making the hydropower for the community. As of now, we have 144 houses connected. And there's also a few businesses. I think on your way there, you saw people having some saloons. They're selling some cold drinks. There is a bakery there. They're all using the same electricity.
John built a hydropower plant at the waterfalls, only with the knowledge he had, experimenting with designs and even learning new skills such as abseiling to install the pipework.
So this shows how much we're generating. Now, because it's a peak hour,
Next to his house, he owns a maize mill, of course also powered from the hydro plant. John is a true inspiration, given his background and at the same time his ambition and new ideas.
to be honest, I didn't go far with my education because in our family there are 9 of us. So my father passed away, and then my mother couldn't afford the school funds.
You mentioned you didn't have the chance to have education. Where did you get your knowledge?
All right, from my childhood, I used to play with toys, and my interest was to make sure and know how that toy works. So I was opening that toy, taking it apart, and see how that works. And I was very interested in the electricity. So each and everything that uses electricity, I was just destroying. Even the radios in my house, my mother's house, I was taking them apart to see what is going on inside.
You learned everything yourself?
Most of it, but just taking advantage of this, the government is now coming in and taking me in different trainings so that I understand it better. if you can go around the village, you find like people who have like 2 chickens, 3 chickens, some who have pigs, even others have cows, but we don't know how to use them. If we talk of Livingstonia, it's a place where it is famous in the tourism. So it won't be good as it was, just because people are cutting a lot of trees, which is bringing climate change. So I was thinking like, it's better to introduce people to these clean cooking methods, like biogas. If somebody can have like maybe 2 cows, he can cook forever. He'll be able to make his own fertilizer from the waste from the biogas.
Can you also use some of these husks, or is it better then to give that to the chickens?
Exactly. So, you know, it will be like a chain.
Yeah.
The hydro can help the farmers to make their work easy, removing husk, and that husk will be given to the chicken. The chickens will donate manure, and that manure will be used for biogas. And then after doing that biogas, people can use the same rests and apply in their gardens and make life easy. The first benefit that I'm proud of it, now we had the first kids going to the university just because they're doing night studies. The second benefit is like I've seen a lot of business development in the community because, you know, in Africa here, the women are behind. But now I can see that the women are doing business. They're having some salons, some are having bakery. They can bake the bread and sell, invest money, and pay the school funds for their kids. So it has been a very great change for the community. As well, if I can take you in the back like 10 years ago, the forest was not like this. There was like tall trees, there was shade everywhere, there was a lot of splashes of water. But now you can see it's like a desert now because the sun is just heating up. All of the trees are cut off. But the coming of the hydro, I've seen that people are switching to green cooking. They are using hot plates. They are sparing a lot of their time. Instead of the women going to collect the firewood, they will just stay home and do other activities that are developing their lives. When I was starting this project is when I was planting these mango trees. So you can see how big these mango trees are. So you can imagine.
And why mango trees?
I just wanted to build like a little forest, but people could also have fruits from also compost, because if these things are falling down, then we can decompose it and make the compost manure.
Well done, man.
Yeah.
You've done so much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
It's really inspiring.
Thank you.
There's also still a lot to do. New materials for improving safety and stability of the network, more pipe work to harvest more energy from the waterfalls, and of course maintenance and repairs. With our very first small earnings from YouTube and also Patreon, we donated a new air terminal to protect the system against damage from lightning.
So, thank you very much.
So a big thank you to you all for watching and supporting us. When you're in Malawi, you simply can't miss the coffee. And what's better than getting it straight from the source? And even without the coffee, a visit to the beautiful Chirwa Valley is already worth it.
actually give you.
Oh no,
You can
it's
also-
one again. So then this comes off.
The white tail comes off. I think I can.
Hard, hè?
Hard.
I can't bite it.
Coffee.
What is this one?
It's the camera.
Okay. Okay. It's okay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like a grey, but no, now it's being also turned to black. After this process, she's going back to that mortar. I don't know if it's big as it. It's in it. First.
Smells good.
In the middle.
Tight on the middle. Hard. It's string.
I already hear it's not as hard as yours.
No.
See her movement. She's like, her whole body is going like, wop, 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 wop. It's amazing. Okay, that's your turn. In the middle.
I
I don't want to spill it.
string.
Oh, your strength.
Yeah.
Are you laughing at me?
Yes. It's getting there. I don't think it was us.
No. We're having a great time at Msasa camp, where Rikus and Pietro welcome us like family. One day we take their bikes out for a ride, another day we spend with children from the community chatting about conservation. We do a fun exercise with the kids. On their blank coloring books of the Manchewe waterfalls, they must draw and color in the things they associate with it. Can be anything. They come out with animals, trees, and even tourists on high heels. Of course, there's also time to check out PANGO.
Here we are. This is the car that they use to travel, to carry that message to the different places. Yeah.
It feels like a taxi now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm called Gorodi. I'm myself as a chef. So tonight we are preparing pizza. For snacks we're having sima chips. It's local from Malawi, food from flour maize. So you eat it with the tomato radish, which is also nice, yummy. Yeah.
So welcome to Msasa, here on the foothills of Nika National Park in northern Malawi. So Lida asked me, how did you guys end up here? So I've always had this fascination with explorers and African culture, heritage, and specifically history. And the days of the first explorers where they, were searching for the source of the Nile and the adventure, the romantic side of African safaris and explorations. So growing up on a farm in South Africa next to Addo Elephant National Park and, experiencing the expansion of Addo Elephant National Park and then the safaris that goes hand in hand with that. And then growing up on a hunting farm next to Addo Park, realizing that it's not just about hunting, it's also about, you know, observing nature and so on. And then, you know, after school and working and studying, we decided to go and travel through Africa. And again, also had a passion for Land Rovers, and took an old Land Rover and packed it with, you know, a minimum budget. Not at all like we travel today with all the kit and outfitting.
When was that, Ricketts?
That must be around, so I was still at university, so that must be in 95 or 96, 97. The first Land Rover I bought was, it was a Series 2A 1966 model, 109 inch, a khaki colored one, which was the old Zenith 6-cylinder engines, which was a nightmare. That thing drank like 3 liters of petrol for every kilometer. Drum brakes that never worked. Till the day I sold it, it never worked. So there was no brakes in the Land Rover. So that's why I completely understand when they say you drive a Land Rover, and when you start using the brakes, or when you put your foot on the brake, the only thing that changes is the expression on your face. When we came back in 2005 to Africa, we decided, okay, we've seen the world, we love it, but we don't see why we want to go and further explore the world if we live on this beautiful continent that we call Mama Africa. And we then bought a TDI 300 1996 model and kitted it out again with limited budget and started traveling through Africa. And then we're looking for opportunities to work while we travel and explore specifically Africa. And it's the tourism industry, you know, the Serengeti and the Masai Mara and you know, these traditional safari destinations. And then with that experience, we moved over to West Central Africa, which is Gabon, Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Congo Brazzaville, those places, Sao Tome Principe. And we brought the experience of East Africa to West Central Africa, and we developed safari lodges in 3 or 4 of these countries, the first ever. Which we're very proud of today, and it was amazing experiences. But anyway, so for 20 years, 25 years, we traveled with our old Land Rover, basically every 2 years to a new country, working for these safari lodges, either building new ones or doing what we call turnaround projects. And at some stage we said, 3-4 years ago, we said, it's time we find our own little piece of heaven. And we went on a 42,000 kilometer trip through Africa over 6 months, not aiming for any specific destination, just going, standing up in the morning and driving. Or like Livingstone said, I will continue traveling as long as it's forward. And we kind of applied that to our safari, hoping to find our little spot. And towards the end, after 6 months, we drove into Malawi from the northern direction, from Tanzania. And about an hour and a half south of the border, we drove over a hill and we saw Chitimba Bay, mini Table Bay with Table Mountain and the Nika Mountains behind it. And we just fell in love with the place. And we settled on a little beach there, and then eventually also here on top of the mountain. And now we're in the process of rebuilding these camps. So half of it is old camps, half is new. And we're trying to work on a concept to a more submersive but a little bit more comfortable accommodation style, but still have that authentic, real authentic, you know, African experience. And people usually say, yeah, but I mean, as a tourist, you can go, you have a tourist experience everywhere. And what do you mean by African experience? If you look at all the great writers and philosophers over the last 100 or 200 years, for instance, Ernest Hemingway and these guys that came to Africa, they all have got this thing that they say there's a bug in Africa that bites you and it just leaves something behind in you. And you just fell in love with this continent. That is what flows in our veins. It's just, we are part of this continent, and we understand the challenges of our continent, but we also see the beauty of our continent. And the challenge here is how do we meet these two while we also protect these last little wilderness pockets in Africa, but also do responsible and sustainable ecotourism. And wandering Pango girls visiting us, they only see the start. It's literally the start. And we've had many road bumps, and it's like driving a Land Rover. You know, in the rain, your right foot gets wet. If it's cold, your right toe freezes. And eventually, when you're in the tropics, it's hot, you get trench foot in the Land Rover. You know your oil is leaking out. You know it's rattling. It's noisy. You know there's going to be a breakdown. But in the end, just driving that with that amazing vehicle through Africa, and you know the camaraderie and the spirit that you take through, and that's why one of my biggest heroes and friends, Kingsley Hallgate, he also drives with a Land Rover, and that is what we love to do, and that's what we will continue with.
While the day of leaving Msasa is getting closer, one big question is still hanging above our heads. Are we going to take the Golodi Pass? Luckily, we could first experience the road from the backseat when we went on a snorkeling trip at Chirwa Island in Lake Malawi.
We're heading out to Chirwa to go and snorkel, actually show the wandering Pango girls how beautiful that island is, and hopefully they can see some chicklets.
We made it down the pass.
Yeah, Gorodi. Lida is still stuck in the past.
As much as my FOMO wanted to take Pango down this pass, the narrow tracks and steep cliffs kept me awake. And Carla was afraid the car would rattle apart. So we decided to take the chicken road.
It's a beautiful chicken road. I mean, look. You almost killed a chicken on the chicken pass.
Yeah, I think I did kill a chicken on the chicken pass. Because the chicken just crossed the road.
Why does a chicken cross the road?
To be killed. I was driving so slowly. And this thing went like this, and just chose for a sudden death. I felt so bad.
Thank you all for wandering along. Next time we cross the border into a new country, Tanzania. Subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Hope to see you there.
And the footage, so it's like
You're alone in this, huh? You're alone in this.
I have.
Yeah.
Did I tell you that I'm afraid of heights?
Sorry.
It's a bit late. It's a bit late
You
now.
have already done almost the whole of it.
Okay,
We're just
almost there.
That's the way to tell it. It's almost done the worst of it. It's done. It's almost done.
Almost done.
You don't know if he's lying, but
No, but I think you can hear the machine.
Yes.
yes.
We'll go up and then we'll go down.